What up? Hey, this week's theme is sales. Sell. Sale. Sold. Sale. Sells. So many different ways to say it. So many different ways to do it. Right, Chase Adia? Is it alright if I reference you in YouTube videos?
Yeah, it's good.
Is it okay? Yeah, okay.
They know.
YouTube video. We're also going to be putting this on the podcast. So I don't know where you're going to be consuming this content. But nonetheless, you got to be making sales. So if you are a podcast listener, we appreciate you guys. And in the previous podcast, we just did a topic on sales and specifically overcoming objections. And when a client says, hey, I'm going to go get other bids, what that actually means and how to overcome that objection. So this whole week, we're talking about sales. And why are we talking about sales? Because I think, no, not tomorrow, but the next day is April 1st. So whenever you watch this, it's absolutely go time. Our sales usually peak at Green again right around April 14th. And so these next 2 weeks are super, super vital for you to be closing more sales. So that's what we're going to talk about. Overcoming objections, how to close more sales, and hopefully this helps you guys reach your goals. Because we all say, I want to add another 50K in revenue, or I want to add another crew. Well, how do you do that? More revenue? You got to make sales. More equipment? You got to make sales. More crew leaders? Another crew? It all takes sales. So let's get into it. We're going to go over 2 things today. We're going to go over the sales process, the sales funnel that we use and that I kind of filter through whenever I'm talking to somebody. And then we're also going to go over, what are we going to go over, Chase Adia? What's the second thing? Nah, nothing? Just the silence behind the camera. We're also going to go over like what happens when somebody says consistently, hey, it's just too expensive, or like, oh yeah, we're just kind of pricing out, shopping around, and you're consistently getting feedback that, hey, you're too expensive, we're going with somebody else. Pretty easy fix. Let's get into it. Sales funnel. Right, Chase Adia?
Right.
Right. All right. So, quick overview of our sales funnel process, and then we'll talk about our next objection. So, what I call the sales funnel process is, I'm going to write this down here for you. Those of you listening on the podcast, just picture a nice green, what is this called again? Poster board. Can't ever remember that. So it's like a lime green poster board. I've got this funnel here, right? On the very top of the funnel, we're going to put building trust / one of my favorite words is rapport. Building trust / rapport at the very top of the sales funnel. Why is it at the very top? Because every relationship is built on the foundation of trust. For there to be an exchange of money, there must first be an exchange of trust. Nobody's going to give you their hard-earned cash unless they trust you. And if they don't, they're usually an idiot. That's usually a bad financial decision that you've just made. So you have to develop the relationship, develop rapport whenever you're going through the sales funnel process. And you look at this with anybody, like any company out there has somehow established trust with their end user. Same thing when you're going to the homeowner. You want to figure out a way to develop trust quickly. Guys, as we go through this, we're not going to go super detailed, but I will reference back. So on our Lawn Care Leaders website, on our coaching and community platform, we actually do an entire video lesson, deep dive, on the sales funnel process. And you're like, oh, that's great. I think I'll just watch this. Well, I just talked about building trust and rapport. We also have an almost 2-hour audio course on how to build trust and the importance of that. Because I believe, especially in the economic climate that we're in right now, I believe building trust is one of the single greatest tools that you can utilize to take your business to the next level. And why do I think that? I think that because there's such a flood of information. There's so many people trying to grab your attention. And there's so many people trying to get more followers. There's so many people trying to get more likes, more engagement. But for you to actually add value to somebody's life, for you to actually monetize on a service or monetize on a product, you have to have a client that trusts you in order to buy that. So it doesn't matter how many followers you have. If nobody trusts you, when you turn around and look back there and nobody's behind you, do they really trust you? Are they really a follower? No. And so that's why I think building trust is important. That's my 2 cents. The next one on the funnel is credibility. Boom. So we've got building trust, building rapport, and then we have credibility. Credibility matters. Now there are, again, on our video lesson, we talk about some ways that you can establish credibility, but there's certain factors. You can be credible because you have good character. You can be credible because maybe you're an authority on a certain topic. You can be credible maybe because you've been doing this thing for a while, and so the fact that you have a certain amount of tenure with the company proves your credibility. Professionalism can up your credibility. Reviews, any way that a client can see, hey, somebody else uses them, they got this value, I now see them credible, and it also develops that trust as well. So building trust, building rapport, value is the next one. Building trust, credibility, and value. Wink. Chase D has given me, I thought he was giving me the thumbs up, like, man, this is some good stuff, but he was actually saying, raise it up. I can't see it. All right, so building trust, credibility, value. One tip that I'll give you here is everyone who thinks, look at bro here, everybody who thinks he's a salesman jumps to this one right here. They go immediately to what I can do for you. I'm going to make your lawn look better. Your previous company did so bad. I'm going to make it so much better. The landscaping, it looks horrible. I'm going to fix it. Or, oh, I see what you want. This is what I can do. And so you just start telling the person what you think they want. You just start telling the person what you think they need. Problem is, you haven't built trust. You haven't established credibility. And so you're jumping to value. Have you heard the saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care? That can be used right here. You don't want to jump to value without following this funnel. The last one is sale. All right? You have not if you ask not. At some point, you have to ask for the sale. Was I too far over, Chasadilla? I'm like... All right? You have not if you ask not. So if you follow these steps, it's okay to ask for the sale. You need to ask for the sale. It is your duty to your team and to your family to ask for the sale. All right? So first establish rapport, prove your credibility, show your value, and then close the sale. The other thing that will help here, guys, and I actually use this framework when talking to my leadership team. And I put this, if you look in my journal for Green Again, anytime I'm taking notes at the company, I actually put this at the very top. And it's because this, let me just show you. Help, care, trust. All right? Do they know that I can help them? Do they know that I care about them? Do they trust me? And do I trust them? You can see this process all throughout here. How can he help me? Credibility, value. All right? Because this is what your client is asking themselves. I do this for my leadership team because this is what I want them to feel. I want them to feel that, hey, I'm able to get help from Britt. He truly cares about me. I truly trust him. He truly trusts me. Same thing for the sales funnel process. Your client, whether you know it or not, or your prospect rather, is asking themselves, can this person help me? immediately. And if they're like, yeah, he can help me, the next thing they're going is, does he care about me? And the next thing they're going to is, do I trust him? They're going through one of these three factors in this process the whole time. So by following the sales funnel process, you're going to build rapport, credibility, value, and close the sale, because they will have checked the box, ping, 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 on all three of these. Cool? Was I still too far over? Giving me the thumbs up? Man. Guys, listening on the podcast, this is also a YouTube video, so you need to honestly go over and watch the YouTube video. It'll be funny watching me try to translate what I do on podcasts into the YouTube world. It'll be like watching a baby giraffe take its first steps. It's going to be, it might be cute for some of you guys, but it's going to be more hilarious than anything else. Okay, now I got nothing to hold, so I can move freely. All right. In our previous podcast, we had talked about overcoming objections and what to do when somebody says, hey, I'm getting other bids. Now we're going to go with the same theme, overcoming objections, but I want to talk a little bit about if you consistently get the, hey, it was just out of our budget. It was too expensive, we went with somebody cheaper. Or maybe you consistently find yourself in a position, because different areas of the market are different. Different services are approached different ways. And so the way you close it needs to be different as well. And so I want to respect that for you landscapers out there. So don't think just because you're getting somebody that wants to haggle with your price that you're doing something wrong. Maybe you've done those things. Maybe you've established rapport, you've proven credibility, you've shown the value of your service, and you're asking for the sale, and then they're still giving the objection that it's too expensive. Can you bring that $1,100 mulch job down to $1,000? Here is a very practical, very simple way. And you might be like, wow, Britt, earth-shattering. But hey, it works. If we run into this too much, where people are trying to negotiate on price, and it's usually around 10%, we will just increase our prices 10%. And then what happens? It is a win freaking win. Never seen a more win-win situation in my entire life in regards to sales. Got a $1,000 job. You know they're going to try to talk you down, so you put it at $1,100. So what you do is you now go and you approach the client. Hey, $1,100 to install your mulch. Does it sound good? You've walked through the sales funnel process. They're like, it's still a little much. You know what, Jim Brown? I know you're a good dude, Jimmy B. I know you're a good dude. We do great work. I know you want this mulch done. We value this relationship, and we want a chance to prove ourselves, right? Like we want to prove that we can take care of your property. What if we knock it down $100 for you? So we go from $1,100 to $1,000. I've got mouths to feed back home. I have a team. I can't do any more than $100. Does that sound good? Is that fair? Yeah, it's fair. Let's go! Then you have your original price. What if you offer him the $1,100 and he's like, hey, that sounds good. Winning, right? How many times have we discounted our prices to get a job? Go ahead and tack on that extra 10% to your bottom line. So you've already factored in. I literally almost said farted, Chase. You've already farked it in. Well, that was not the.
Better stop it now. Better stop now.
Just quit while you're ahead, Britt. Okay, you've already factored in your margins. So I know if Zach's watching this, he might be just like, his eyes might be twitching. He's like, oh. Like, what's going on here? I don't know what our margin is. I don't know what our pricing is. You've already set your margin with Zach. Okay, so if you're one of our coaching community clients and you've set your margins, this is above and beyond that margin. So $1,000 has already factored in all your other overhead, all your cost of goods sold, all your inventory, all your labor, and then you're tacking another $100 onto it to help you close the sale. It's a very simple, very practical tool that you can use to make the client feel like, hey, I can trust this guy. And sometimes, I'll say this, usually for some reason they've been burned in the past. And so they're worried about the value they're going to get. And there is a little stigma around some landscape jobs where people just feel that it's okay to ask for a discount. And so instead of always saying, you know what, we don't like to negotiate on pricing, if you keep getting that objection, it's okay to increase your prices 10%. Now, I just brought up one side point where we have on our podcast talked about showing your professionalism, proving yourself, and saying we don't really compete on price. I think that's great. But I'm speaking to guys out there that are consistently losing large jobs or large opportunities, and you can't afford that. So what do? You figure out a way to overcome that objection, and increasing your price by 10% could be a really, really good tool that as they start to lean on the fence, you play that card and try to close them down. And don't lead in with that, or it's going to look like you're some bonehead that raised their price 10%. You don't want to be playing poker and stick your cards on your head, right? All right, you're trying to close it at $1,100. But if they're on the fence and they're like, you know what, that's just a little too expensive, boom, you got them, because you knew they were going to freaking say that. You got them in the bag. So don't forget, guys, sales funnel process, you have to walk through those steps one by one, and then go ahead and raise your prices 10%, especially you landscapers out there, if you consistently get the objection that you're too expensive.